Hello people of the internet! Welcome, I am KICdude, and today I have a weird topic because it's kind of a little bit over the gap now, and I like to talk about things when most of the information is out, if not all of it. And because that's the way I feel like that should be done, because it leaves people with like, oh, well then he waited. You know, when I did my stuff on how did Donald Trump win the presidency, I waited till all the facts or all my opinions were done. And it's weird and it's interesting, and I like to compile all of my thoughts after the fact and then get stuff down. Now, first and foremost, I'm sorry for taking such a long break. Working for schools, I don't know if you know this, working for schools is harder than just having a school that you work with, and that itself is just it envelops your life. Okay, I work for special needs kids, and those kids, essentially the school year lasts longer for them, and it's harder and harder as the school year ends because parents send stuff to them with school, and then they have to get it, and then the school has to send everything back when they leave. It's just a big old tragedy. Anyways, what I'm going to be talking about today is newscasters on YouTube and how they're being affected. Now, a lot of times when I talk about subjects, I like to present my own opinions, but this time I think I'd rather just talk about every single one that is kind of big. A lot of people, like commentators themselves, are newscasters in a certain sense, but like drama channels and stuff like that are kind of lumped in to what is news and newscasting on YouTube. Now, the first things first, the big one that comes to mind, everyone says it, everyone knows about him, Philip DeFranco. He himself has tried to start a brand new like news network, having multiple people sign up and do all these things, to where it's essentially he wants to have a textured news. And I would say it like that because that's the way he keeps referring to it, as where he says texture is better than like texture is better. He keeps saying stuff like texture is better, and if he's gonna say it that way, then I'm gonna go ahead and say texture news is what he's reporting, because texture news is what he keeps referring it to as. Referring it to it as. Okay, whatever. Anyways, so as I say this, I know for a fact there's a lot of people that are not going to be on board with me. People think Philip DeFranco is some kind of white supremacist and stuff like that, and you know, even then people on the right and the left call him weird things that are unbased, unbiased, untrue, they're biased, untrue, and just downright mean, mean-spirited, because people 100% are so brand loyal that they don't want to take their own heart, judge themselves, and then displace it on somebody else. No. They don't want to do that. They rather just, talk crap on somebody that doesn't share their own opinion. They don't want to look into themselves and think, well, maybe he's right. No. They want to say, no. I'm right, and I know I'm right because I'm always right. And you're wrong. No. That's not the way to look at life. No, you're not important. In the grand scheme of things, you die. All right? And no one is important in life. Okay? That being said, I want to be talking about somebody with certain importance because he's a topic of today. Well, the thing is, he's a little bit more in the public eye, and he has a little bit more of grasp on like world politics and stuff because he's done news for a long time. Now, he's done news for a long time to the point where I would say he's an ex-Keemstar. Now, Keemstar himself, because of the way he acts on camera and through the videos I have seen, it looks like he plays a character when he does stuff, He plays like a different person, a different personality. He's not himself when he's on camera. Bro, he has to eat a Snickers bar, essentially. But it's difficult to pin it down. Keemstar himself has had those moments where he comes off as a butt on screen because he acts a certain way. He tries to personify this, sort of douchebaggery, frat bro style of life, when in reality he's trying to report the news to get the most views. That's kind of weird the way I said it, but now it kind of makes sense. The news for views. But drama itself, he overdoes it so he can, get more clicks and stuff. I get it, okay? It makes sense. I try to put PewDiePie. I try to do all that kind of stuff too to stay relevant. I talk about topics that are kind of relevant when they're there, and I talk about them weekly, not exactly daily, because I believe that news happens like that. I try to get all the news, then report on that subject rather than have partial news. Now, unfortunately, because of that, people will not turn to me for news updatedly and all that kind of stuff. I wait for an entire story to end before I start talking about it. So Philip 100% has that nailed on the head. But as far as other newscaster goes, we have Philip DeFranco. I've already talked about the Keemstar, and Keemstar himself, like I said, he presents himself a little bit more of like a frat bro kind of style newscaster. And Scarce is another one who talks about stuff like that. Between the three of them, Philip DeFranco definitely spearheads news at its rawest state. It's definitely the raw that you can't get any more like unfiltered. He basically puts the news out. He doesn't ever try to manipulate the news. And if he says something that maybe didn't, if there's an update and he was incorrect, he goes in and corrects it, either in the description or something, or he flat out says, listen, I was essentially wrong when I said this because X happened or Y happened, and this habit development and stuff like that. Now, as far as Keemstar goes, he's a lot more entertaining. I will say this, Philip DeFranco, you're not very entertaining when it comes to doing news, but I do listen to you because it's a very interesting conversation. Now, Keemstar, on the other hand, he does a lot more, he's more happy. He's more like out there because of the fact that he does a more douchebaggery way. He becomes off as more of a fun person to watch. People try to mimic that style of like, oh, I don't really care about the world. This is me, and this is my bias, yada yada. And I think this person's right, and I will do everything to make me look, like I'm on top and over everything. I don't really care. Unfortunately though, because of that, he will get crap because people don't like a non-screen douchebag. People don't like it. And a while back, he was asking everybody, why am I getting so much hate? Bro, it's because of that. Alright? People don't like the characterization or, I don't even know, the caricature of yourself being played on screen. They don't like it. It's just flat out, okay? Philip is more raw, you are more satirized. And I get it while you do it, but unfortunately that doesn't work in your favor. It doesn't work in Philip's favor either, okay? Let's be fair. If you're really putting the numbers out there, if anybody's paying attention, he gets hate from both sides of a political spectrum, and Keemstar gets hate from both sides of people who don't like watching a douchebag. So there you go. I don't even really know Keemstar's first name or actual name. I really don't even want to research the guy, to be fair, because I'm lazy. I'm lazy. So I really don't even want to research what his actual name is, but I feel like, in the way that I've seen his videos, I feel like he plays a persona when he is in that chair versus when he tries to be real, And unfortunately, what that happens is that it turns into a weird dynamic where people don't know who to trust. Do they trust the person who's saying, listen, bro, in a calm voice, I'm telling you this, or do they trust the person who's, being, let's get right into the news, all that kind of stuff. It's things like that, it's things like when you come off as that douchebag, you're gonna get hate, okay? You're gonna get it. And same thing with apparently, like, Leafy for a while was doing that kind of stuff, commentating, and commentary is not old by any means. He does them on topics that are like apparently like the cringiest yada in the world, or X meets Y. He overdoes certain things. Unfortunately, however, he doesn't have that big of an audience that backs him up to quantify him to do that. He plays an emo brat kid. Like, it's obvious. He plays an emo brat kid when unfortunately people don't really see him that way. Okay, people see him as an emo brat kid, but everyone was like, dude, you know, this is, who are you? You know, who are you? That's the thing. And unfortunately, people who play characters like myself get that. They get trashed. They get berated from both sides that, you know, they didn't need. Everyone's gonna get berated for something, but I think having your own personality works. Now, as far as another brilliant commentator, because he is a commentator, he's not essentially a newscaster, Boogie2988, love your content. Anyways, when Boogie reports stuff, he does the same thing basically that I do. He waits a little bit more for a little bit more time to process it. He is not one of the first ones to put stuff up, but he is one of the people who waits for rationale to come out. And unlike Philip DeFranco, Boogie he is a little bit more biased in his commentary. He's a little bit more like towards his own leanings, and there's nothing against Boogie, but it's very hard. You know, everyone has this. Everyone has it 100%, that they have their own biases. They have their own beliefs. And in any case, anywhere you go, it is very, very difficult to shy away from your own bias. Okay, I don't know how Philip does it, but even every once in a while, Philip falls into his own bias. Every once in a while. It's not like every single time, but you can tell when he's slipping. He slips a little bit. But Boogie, unfortunately, it's more apparent when he reports it, because he talks about it through his own personal eyes. So he doesn't report the news the way that Philip does, that is a little bit more raw, but Boogie is more like, this is what I think of the situation entirely. It's not essentially what Philip does, and everyone has that. It's nothing against him. I have it too when I commentate on stuff. But who cares about me, right? It really people who have literally that dwarf me in size. Who cares in the grand scheme of things? Now, the unfortunate side effect, right, of all these people doing commentaries is that people who do commentaries on the up and up, that are like Archie and a Kindale War, these people, they also do kind of newscasting, and like all of them. I can't name all of them because there's way too freaking many to mention. Those are the ones that I watched and I've seen, and the one that, you know, apparently the one that's dropped off the internet completely, freaking Whiplash the Snake, completely dropped off the internet. He only has an active Twitter account in the sense that he does memes all the time. Now, I don't know where the hell he's been, but he dropped off the internet. Now, all these smaller guys, they do the same thing, and unfortunately, like I've said before, their bias is very apparent. You know, when, for example, this is a big example, when FuzzyTube did his big thing that everyone was mad about for a while, that basically gave him the PR he needed to do things. He's at it again too, you know, basically a big YouTuber asking for money because, quote unquote, he's homeless. Not a thing, dude. You're big, you can do things with the assets that you have. Unfortunately, people are gonna tell you deal with it, man. You have this, you have the stuff. Anyways, when it comes down to it, right? When that story broke out, when he was doing fake stuff, between all of these people, and the things, you know, the initial deal, the reaction by the newscasters, and then the reaction to them, and then the reaction to the reaction by the newscasters. Between all of that, the most level-headed one, I would say, that delivered the information had to be Philip. Even when in those situations, Philip was a little bit more biased. Honestly, I will tell you right now, Philip was a little bit more biased towards that stuff. Keemstar blew it out of proportion, like he does for the, you know, for the satirical views. Boogie also did the same thing. He reported it, but he did it a little bit. He was more biased. But all these underdogs, they did the same thing Keemstar did. They reported it, and they did it more of like we're gonna shame you. And unfortunately, when it comes down to this stuff, I try to take I don't want to be in the eye of a big YouTuber. You know, do you want to know why? Because if I was in the big eye of a big YouTuber, I could hurt me completely, or it could make me do better. That's the way it works. These big people, like say for example, if I call Philip DeFranco a berated idiot who's a white supremacist and he's a Nazi, guess what? If he comes back at me hard, I'm dead, essentially. The 50-something subscribers that I have are for naught. Even though I worked 5 years to get them, they're gone. No one's going to believe me anymore. No one's going to trust the judgment that I have anymore. And because of that, I had to be super careful when even mentioning a higher class YouTuber. I had to mention that I'm doing satirical things. I had to mention that I have to do that kind of stuff. Okay? And that's why when these smaller YouTubers have this thing, and when, like, say for example, FuzzyTube's like, oh, you know what? I don't like what everyone's saying about me. You know, Usef comes in and just says, you know what? You and you and you and you and you and you and you. All of my fan base, go attack them. Go report all their videos and take them down. Guess what? They're not going to be able to do anything about it, because guess what? We're the little guys. Okay? Somebody who technically, for me anyways, I've been around YouTube since YouTube is about a year old. So I would call myself a small ancient of YouTube. I've seen YouTube through almost all the changes. It's interesting to see down here how newscasters are blowing some things out of proportion. Now the one thing that everybody wants to know is how advertisers are quote unquote deeming these people unadvertiser friendly. A lot of people are like, oh, we're unadvertiser friendly because we're news and we're talking about stuff that is raw. It is because you talk about raw stuff that you are unadvertiser friendly. But unfortunately, there's a bias, because these big people, these big networks, these like your ABC, your MSNBC, your CNN, all these people who show visual images because they're credited, they're these bigger YouTube stars. It just seems unfair to me that if I were to talk about it because I'm a small YouTuber, it could kill me. I don't have the resources enough to do a copyright claim. So when people are like, oh, you have third-party content on your stuff, I'm like, dude, I have third-party content on my stuff. You know, that's why I've resorted to making my own music. I'm a musician by trade, but I've resorted to making all my own music. When I do anything on my channel, I have to make my own music, because I don't want to have anything happen to my channel because they're like, oh, well, it's third-party stuff. No, it's third-party stuff. Yada, 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 yada. I would love to be able to do memes, but unfortunately, all that kind of stuff, all that kind of commentary, it's proven inadequate by the algorithm that YouTube has set. Okay? Now, I know that was a long tangent, but that is probably why a lot of biases on YouTube are weird. Okay? When people talk about stuff on YouTube, they have to not only look at the news, they have to look at what they're presenting, and then after that, look at what they're presenting and see if it'll make it through the YouTube algorithm. It's not an easy job, guys. That's exactly why I try to keep myself family friendly. Okay, I would love to be able to do all this kind of stuff, but I'm, because of my own moral values and all of my stuff that I do, I try to keep myself family friendly. Even though I know for a fact, cursing is a lot way funnier to do than actually being family friendly. Saying, obscenities all the time gets you views and gets you stuff screaming into the mic and all that kind of stuff, but I feel like having my own personality, just a little bit more accentuated to do stuff for video games, it's better. It's more adequate. It's a better feeling of me. It's a more genuine thing for everybody, and I feel it's the right way to do stuff. Okay? Never in my life do I ever want to get to the point where it's literally people being like, no, bro, the way you have it is wrong. And unfortunately, we're gonna have to, because you say, the F word, the N-bomb, or you say you know, you say the C-bomb, all this kind of stuff, you know, say any obscenity, say any bad, you know, stuff. I still try to be funny, but unfortunately, because of that, my comedy is very, very dark. It's very, very unhumoristic. It is not bad, but it's typically my type of comedy that people don't like. And it's because I'm family friendly that it has to be that way. Alright? So that's what people look at when they see newscasters. That is what they see. Okay? It is not when people say, okay, well, this guy's more raw, and he's not, he doesn't say any cuss words. He doesn't say any like cuss words that out of context, you know, all that kind of stuff. He just states the news. Of course, Philip does that. But because of the YouTube algorithm, because they're mentioning stuff. Like, for example, he says the word stabbing. Alright? He mentions that. Unfortunately, because he doesn't want to dumb it down for the kiddies, he's deemed unadvertiser friendly. Okay? It is because of that. Alright? People are like, because he says the word stabbing, he's not advertiser friendly. Well, guess what? Boogie also said stabbing. And he has advertisers on his videos. So, who the hell is monitoring, or who the heck is reporting his videos? Obviously, it's not. He's an independent right now. So, he doesn't have the backup that he needs. But I'm going to go ahead and guess there are people reporting videos on everybody. Just because they say things that they don't like. Alright? PewDiePie himself has said, stop reporting my videos, because it's literally just bullies with a mouse. That's it. Do the cursor. That's it, you know. People are like, oh, this moderator does this. XXX, I don't like your video because it said this. Report. I don't like this. Report. You know, it's that kind of stuff. You know, and I'm going to go ahead and guess that's why when people are like, oh, I don't like Philip DeFranco, I'm going to go ahead and report him. Specifically him, because I don't like him. And I'm going to go ahead and guess that's why a lot of newscasters have been getting demonetized. That's why even when Philip tries to skirt around the system, there's a lot of videos that he has that skirt around the system, he doesn't get it. It's amazing to me how much a small amount of fake bravery, or fake bravado gets people. It's amazing to me, because people will 100% sabotage somebody else in the hopes, right, that they go out of business. Guess what? Philip DeFranco's here to stay. I'll tell you that right now. He has a game plan. A lot of people that are in a situation typically don't have a game plan. You know, he's a shirt salesman. He's a newscaster, so he's asking people for money so he can do news the right way. All this stuff, man, and it's literally nothing. It's literally nothing when you look at it. He tries to pull in more money by doing monetized videos. Yes, everyone does it. Rooster Teeth does it. Everybody does it. But it's because of that, right? That people like Bleedy298, Keemstar, all these small commentators, when people are like, well, I don't like this person specifically, so I'm going to go ahead and report his video because he said that one thing about the president that I don't like. So what? Get over it. This is you. This is it. This is you getting over it, okay? There is no need for it. Being petty in life gets you nowhere, okay? Choosing to respect one another's opinions and respecting everybody is the way to live, okay? So, you know, I hate ending like in the most like I told you so attitude, but unfortunately that's the way I'm going to end this video, okay? So if you guys liked the discussion, love me, I love you back. So I will see you guys next time.